Afternoon. I'm here today to talk about the presentation of the IELTS exam done for proficiency on would-be English speakers, both for entry and exit of the United States country in this case, or to be authorized to do English teaching. Now, one of the points I wanted to talk about is what punctuation or what score I will give to the candidate in the video. In my case, I believe I will give them a 4 out of 5. This is not due to lack of proficiency in the language, since they do seem to handle quite an extensive vocabulary as well as grammatical rules when speaking. However, this is the problem. They do tend to talk very slowly. This is most likely due to the fact that even if they were trying to speak fluently, even if they were native speakers, it was not a casual environment in which they could speak with speed, but was more of an academic thematic environment, an environment in which they were expected to act more professionally, which could have affected the way in which they spoke, changing from rapid speech to a more slow and deliberate speech. Albeit their pacing was not ideal as far as I was aware. Albeit they did try to relax more towards the end when talking about their friends and their achievements, as well as about the intelligence. Now, in the topic of the IELTS exam, Band 9 type answers will be classified as those that could not be distinguished or that could be passed for those that will be given by an usual native speaker if they were asked the same questions. Not only in handling of the language or how fluent they are, but also how they structure their thoughts into sentences. The more elaborate it is, the greater the score, as long as they keep a delicate equilibrium with the rest of the sentences, as well as with the pacing, which is very important. So, talking more specifically about structure, what makes them proficient users of these sentences will be not only their knowledge and capacity to handle grammatical rules when speaking, which usually, according to other theories on linguistics, would necessitate time to first structure the sentence you were going to use and then revise it with the rules you know in order to correct it before even speaking it. This has to do with the comprehensive input theory by Kroshen, which is a famous linguistic in the realm of SLA. However, what makes them proficient is that they try not to stop. They don't have awkward pauses, and if they do happen, it's because they're trying to search for the right words, which happened to me just a while ago in this video. However, this combination of factors is what makes them proficient sentence users, as well as manufacturers, because we all need to produce sentences in order to utilize the language, which is a given, basically. This equilibrium is what I think makes them proficient, because not a single point in time did they seem awkward or off-putting in the structuring of the sentences, nor with the language they used. They didn't want to overshoot it, they didn't want to sound overly regal, as I guess I am doing right now, which comes rather naturally to me, I must say, being the case for our candidate here. Hence why I think they are proficient sentence user. Okay. So, taking into account how the candidate's speech related to my own capabilities will be to try to knock down the jargon I use a couple of notches. Because one problem with academics discourse, sometimes we use a language that is so technical to our specific fields of specialization that anybody who isn't even remotely in the know will find themselves as lost as anybody else who could ever come across it, which is quite common, including with some of the scenes of academic writing, like with one of the examples of an exponent on how to make it more interesting to read or to see or to hear, to make it more humane, so to speak. As when they're using of visualization, like one will simply say about the daughter for example, I love her. But somebody who wants to sound elegant will say, I virtually adore her. Which isn't necessarily wrong, but it makes a sort of unnecessary distinction, like I virtually instead of I love her. I just do instead of I do it in such a way with a je ne sais quoi. That is not necessarily always the point. If not to clarify some specific topics inside a conversation on academia, these sort of talks should be avoided, which I also should try to do myself when I speak. Because I notice often that the vocabulary I use is way too cumbersome for others to utilize effectively, for they to comprehend me effectively, in which I had to basically repeat 2, 3 times the same thing in order to just rephrase it. Which to me is, to say frustrating is to say the least. But I understand where they come from. And that is important because there is an error that is fossilized in me, which I do need to fix. And I believe some of us will like to go the other way around, which is the way in which our candidate was trying to go, to use more sophisticated vocabulary to construct more intelligent sounding sentences. It's not Sophistication is not the necessity to use big sounding words, but sometimes can be make it sound like it is more with less, or vice versa. Making it sound like less by using more words. Because at the end of the day, the purpose of this is to communicate, whether in academia or otherwise. And so to have that certain balance between substance and quantity of necessary communicative acts is important. In either case, that would be my opinion. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.